So slow. We are live. What's up, guys? You know what time it is. It's time for the most trash show on YouTube, Garage Goons. So check it out. I just ran. It's still saying I'm live. Are we good, man? This shit is wild. Okay. We're just taking forever today. I'm sorry, guys. Difficulties. This computer severely needs to be replaced. It's Garage Goons, episode 18. You know what time it is. The most trash show on YouTube is, here we are. Got the washing machine in the background. Yeah, par for the course, man. So check it out, guys. I just ran an OCR, and I'm about to take all these. Not cool in the microphone. Probably just blew out your eardrums. But I ran Spartan sprints. Actually, I can say a bunch, but I got 2 medals. Spartan sprint, 1 Spartan beast. That was crazy. 2 battle frogs, which I don't think are any. I think that's the coolest medal. Look, it's got the battle frog, the BF, and then like a frog in the middle punching. Got the Spartan Super, which is a, like a 10K, whatever. And then I just did my first, hopefully you guys can see that, rugged Maniac. Also, I've done a half mudder, which is half of a tough mudder, which was like a 5K version of a tough mudder. And that was really cool. They give you a headband for that. So, yeah, I don't know what the hell happened. But I'm going to break down all these different types of races I've done, what's right for you, what's the best for you, what you're going to get out of them, what you can expect, what kind of obstacles there are. Let me just take these stupid things off real quick. Boom. Thank you. Got that in the thumbnail. And, yeah, so first, I'm going to talk about the obvious one, Spartan, okay? If you're going to start out doing one of them and you're already in good shape and you want to really push yourself, test yourself, Spartan race was obviously the originator, or as far as I'm concerned, the biggest big-scale originator of OCRs, or obstacle course races. They had, the best marketing for it. They had a Reebok deal for a period of time. Now I think they broke away from that, but they have the Spartan TV show now. I think it's on YouTube or something, where they actually have pro Spartan competitors, racing and battling and doing physical competition against each other. And then, Tough Mudder is another big one. And then for those of you who are big Shark Tank fans, another newer one that's kind of like gained popularity over the past 2-3 years is Tough Mudder. Or excuse me, not Tough Mudder. Those Rugged Maniac. Okay. So Spartan races are the most challenging, I would say, from an obstacle perspective. The course is going to vary depending on where it's ran. Okay. When I ran my Spartan East in Lake Tahoe, that's obviously going to bring a challenge. If you run a race in the summer and you do it in Temecula, example, where it gets cooking, it's going to be its own challenge. When I ran a Battle Frog race, which was favorite race ever because it was just as challenging as Spartan and had some more military obstacles, and the whole nature of it was like competitive. That was through the forest north of the Bay Area, and that dense, like evergreen trees everywhere. So basically, Spartan is going to have, they're going to call it obstacles, but there's a bunch of things in the race that are more like challenges or tasks that require physical exertion. For example, everybody knows in these races, you're going to crawl under some barbed wire, probably through some mud. Okay. Everybody knows in these races that you're going to have to climb over various, things and cargo nets and, just structures like that. But one thing that they don't really advertise, because I think when people get to that, they realize it really sucks, is that Spartan will have you do things like fill up a 5-gallon bucket with gravel and carry it up a hill. Okay, so you have to scoop gravel with your hands into this 5-gallon bucket, fill it up. So now this thing weighs like 50 pounds and carry it up a hill. That just sucks. Like it feels really good when you're done with it because you just got done with it. They also have cool things like Atlas stones where you pick up. I've ever seen the World's Strongest Man competition. You'll get really low. It's like this perfectly circular boulder. It probably weighs like, I don't know, 40 pounds, and you have to carry it across. They have sled pulls. They have obviously rope climbs, stuff like that. But they also have like sandbag carries, which really suck because usually the sandbag carry is similar to the bucket of rocks carry. They'll make you go a longer distance with that and then drop it off like somewhere further on down the course. So that's something. They also have like a pulley, like a pulley rope system where you're pulling this 80-pound bag on the other side of a pulley, and you're using your body weight, and you're really just having to engage your core and use everything. The bottom line is the Spartan, because they were the first, because they have the most advertising dollars and stuff, they do have the nicest, in my opinion, looking cool, creative obstacles, in my opinion. Battle Frog was very similar to Spartan, although the pep talk we got in the beginning before the race was, you all signed the safety waiver. If someone is in your way, step over them. Go around them. Don't wait for people. You paid for this race. Finish. It was so like, it made you like look around and like just think like, I got to beat bulls. And you know, it was like 50 people to a heat with the Battle Frog race. One of the smaller races I did, but probably the best one. Spartan, they get you hyped up. You know, there's the whole aroo, aroo, aroo thing that and they give you some crazy speech about, you know, being a Spartan and finishing this race and blah, blah, blah. And then also the coin thing with Spartan race too. That's like maybe the most Spartan thing about it is you get to do the really cool javelin / spear toss at a target. And that's really dope. It's actually a lot harder than you think because like the weight is so like, it's such a long, actually pretty heavy thing. So a lot of people think you need to like throw it like this when really you kind of need to toss it. Like you just want to try to, when you release it, you want to make sure the spear is staying straight. And so when you do this, you get more velocity coming out, but then the tip of the spear tends to want to nosedive, and the force of this part you release is the back part. So the spear goes like this and hits the ground. You'll see a lot of that. But if you kind of just try to balance it right in the middle and just toss it, yeah, it looks less cool and looks less badass form-wise, but you're going to hit the target. Anyways, so that's Spartan, okay? By the way, all of these races, for the most part, have the same distances. They're all going to lie to you and say it's 5, 10, and 15 kilometers. So 5K, 10K, or 15K. The Spartan races definitely lied to you. The 5K that I ran for Spartan was more like 4.5 miles. The Rugged Maniac one I just ran this past weekend was like 4.5 miles. It's, you know, I did there's a course near my house. It's called whatever, Spartan LA or Rugged Maniac LA in this case. It was the same general area that I ran both races. So the track was very similar. Obstacles were totally different, but the track was very similar. I ran it in Lake Castaic, if anyone of you is watching from Southern California. Really cool race. So I'm not going to spend too much time on Battle Frog, even though I keep mentioning it because it's by far my favorite. But it is military inspired, so there was like some kind of more sketchier obstacles. Like we had to traverse this like cliffside by just using a rope that was like anchored in the top of it, and just literally had to, you know, whatever that's called when you're like cliff walking down and just using a rope, basically. So that was sketchy. And it's not like you get a harness or anything. Like if you fell, it was a 50-foot cliff, and you'd be somewhere between dead and in the hospital. Maybe that's why I don't think they're around anymore. I don't know. They might. Somebody was telling me they do them in the South and on the East Coast, but I haven't heard anything about battle frog. Okay, so for a long time. But that's what you get with that. It's more military inspired, and there's a swimming course with battle frog with everything because it is based off of seals. That's what they call seals. They call them frogmen, right? Because they're amphibious, right? They're supposed to be on land and in the water. Tough Mudder, it's hard to explain like the aura or like the experience with Tough Mudder. It's like a party. You go to Tough Mudder, everybody's friendly. There's a lot of people that aren't really like there in the fitness community necessarily. It's a lot of like first time people that just want to like have fun and like do something cool and do like one of these obstacle course races. Tough Mudder, from my experience, there's certain obstacles that I have no idea how you would do unless people help you. Like there's the unique thing about Tough Mudder from what I noticed, and I'm sure there's a way to do every single obstacle on your own, but for the out because one of the obstacles, like when I did Tough Mudder in the very beginning of the race, was this really slick, just like ramp like this, really slick and wet. So it's so slippery and it was like 20 feet high. You can't run up this thing. You can't get traction. You can't get low and kind of crawl. You can't get grip anywhere. It's like trying to run up a wet slip and slide. Okay. You just can't do it. So people were literally having to stand at the bottom of this thing. Somebody crawls on top of their head. Then somebody crawls up those two people. And by the time you had three people stacked on top of each other, kind of like standing on each other's shoulders and stuff, somebody could crawl up to the top, pull the guy behind him. And then you, hey man, can I crawl on top of you? I get to the top, pull you up, or just assume that the guy behind you would eventually help you out or whatever. But basically you had to use other people to crawl up this thing. It felt awkward. I went with a team of my buddies, so that helped. There was like 4 of us, so we were able to do it on our own, but I have to use random people. Like, so that's just something you have to blast through something on your own. You can do it, but you're going to be using other people. So I don't know if that's every single Tough Mudder course. I've only ran a half Mudder, which was a 5K. Okay. And so I haven't run the full thing. I've also been told that like one of the obstacles they have for the half Mudder, but they had it for the full, was they have like this electrical wire at the end of the course where it's just hanging and you just go through it and you get shocked and it hurts. And it's kind of crazy that they haven't gotten totally lawsuited into the ground, but it's good that people go there and they know what they're getting into, and so they don't make a big stink about that. But that's kind of a cool aspect of it. But they play like really aggressive techno music. You'll be in like the what they call the stall, or like where the all the people that are about to start the heat of the race are, and there'll be a guy there. You're like, all right, yeah, like jump around. Who's stoked? It's not really like a pump you up for a race. It's like oh, this is cool. Like everyone's kind of having a good time out here. And that's kind of feel like more the vibes with Tough Mudder. Very obviously it's in the name. A lot of their obstacles have to do with going through mud, crawling under things in the mud, going through soupy, muddy, just little molehills. Like you run up a hill, you run down into a mud pit, up a hill, down into a mud pit. They have stuff like that. But yeah, that's what you get with a Tough Mudder, and it was cool. I actually blew open my shin being a dumbass and jumping off the backside of an obstacle, hit my shin on a 2x4. And I found out the medical there is really good. They stitched me up right then and there, gave me some hydrogen peroxide, the whole nine. And they told me not to continue the race, but I was like, yeah, sure. Okay. And then I finished the race and probably got it infected, but luckily nothing bad happened. My stitches did open up again because I was an idiot and ran the race and went to work the next week. So I got it restitched, but no, I just have this really cool, I don't know if you can see it, but probably can't really see it, but there's a scar right here. And it's a pretty good one anyways. So that I can vouch for the medical on Tough Mudder. That was cool. They had doctors and nurses and everything right there ready to suture me up. So and it worked out. So we've been through Spartan, we've been through Battle Frog, we've been through Tough Mudder. And now for the one I just finished, a whole bunch right here. This is a cool. It's kind of hard to see because it's black and the lighting in here is shit. But you know, that's what you get with the most trash show on YouTube. Rugged Maniac was besides Battle Frog, which again we're gonna put to the side. That's just my favorite one ever, and it doesn't exist anymore to my knowledge. Was the funnest one. They had, even including Battle Frog, the funnest obstacles. They had obstacles where you climbed up the backside of a giant inflatable thing and went down a wet, muddy slide. That's fun. You know, they had this thing where they call it like the lily pads or something. There's a bunch of these plastic floating boxes, okay, in like a little, you know, hole they dug out and filled with water, and they're all kind of tied together. So they're about all a foot apart. So they're doing this stuff. They're getting closer. They're moving farther apart. They're in the water like this because everyone's jumping on them, and you had to like run across and try not to fall and slip in the water. That was cool. They had, what's another one? Oh, maybe the most just fun, purely fun obstacle was, you know, those little zip lines that they used to have in the park like a long time ago. It's just a little dang 12 inches long, and it had a little wheel that would go across, and you would just run and hold it and jump, and it would just zip you across the other side of the little playground area. They had one of those, but it went at a slight uphill, so you had to really run and grab onto it. And then it stopped halfway over this giant puddle that they dug out filled with water. So you like ran, you jumped, you grabbed it, you went zzz, you zip lined forward, and then you had to let go at the beginning, and you just plunged into the water. It was so cool. It was a lot of fun. I loved it. It was a really cool obstacle. They got real creative with their obstacles. Like Spartan, you can tell when you get on a Spartan course who's spending the big bucks, okay? But these ones just had more fun obstacles. All the races, you jump over some fire at the end. That's Spartan started that. Now they all do that. But yeah, it was just a really good time. I finished the 5K in under an hour, which I know you guys are like, oh, 5K, that's nothing, 3 miles an hour. Okay, well, dude, it's 25 obstacles. You can't run the whole thing. You just can't. There's people in front of you. The obstacles really slow you down. And I think the fastest time of that day was like 34 minutes. So I ran it at 55. Take from that what you will, okay? I'm not a pro athlete, but I feel like I'm trying to live a healthy lifestyle and get back into really good peak physical condition. Oh, one more thing. Tough Mudder too. The other obstacle, I forgot about that. If you're afraid of heights or like jumping off things that are high, there is one obstacle where you climb up, you know, another slanted ramp like this, but it has a rope so you can like shimmy your way up. And then you just have to jump off into this super deep ditch that they dig filled with water. It's like 8 feet deep probably. But it's probably like a 20-foot jump. So if you're not good with heights, yeah, maybe not for you. Okay. Lastly, what do you get for finishing? Spartan races, Rugged Maniac gives you the best t-shirt of and a medal. Tough Mudder, you can pay for a t-shirt, but that's extra. And they give you a headband. You either get an orange headband or like that's for a half one. That's the only one I have. And then they give you a different color that represents doing the full thing. Okay, so kind of lame. You might even be able to pay for a medal on Tough Mudder, but it's like everything's like a la carte. Like you got to buy it. It's kind of sucks. Like, yo, I'm already paying $100 for this race, dude. Throw in a medal so I can tell my friends, you know, that I did it, and here's my proof, and like, you know, talk shit, whatever. And yeah, man, that's like the overall synopsis on OCRs. I want to try the grit course. There's a new called Grit. I know there's There's Warrior Race. There's all kinds of them that I haven't done yet, but I've done like the 3 big ones that are, available to me right now. If they ever do bring back Battle Frog, or if that expands back out to the West Coast, definitely going to do that again. That's my favorite one. But yeah, I'm going to try the Grit one out. It looks very similar to Spartan from the videos I've seen online. I'm going to try a Warrior Dash if they're ever out in LA area or Southern California area. And I will fill you guys in on that. Now I'm briefly going to talk about who should do these races. Rugged Maniac, if you want to test the waters and get a good idea of like if you're going to like it or not, do the Rugged Maniac first. Because even though the name says Maniac in it and rugged, and makes you think like, oh man, this is like for serious stuff. No, Rugged Maniac is the most fun, and I would say regardless of what kind of shape you're in, at the very workout and at the very most, you're going to be like, damn, this sucks. This is really tough. But Rugged Maniac is like a good entry level one to do. If you want to have fun with friends and you're in a little bit better shape and you've done your Rugged Maniac, you've done your first OCR, and you want to do something a little bit more challenging, but like lighthearted and just have a good time, but like, that's going to physically challenge you a little bit more, try a Tough Mudder, okay? You could either do the full Mudder, which again is a 10K, or the half Mudder, which I did, which is a 5K. Or if you want to just dive in the deep end, try a Spartan race. But just understand that there's physical things in there that you're going to have to do that require strength. It's not all cardio. It's not all plyometrics. It's not all, running and climbing and rope climbs. No, there's some things where you're actually going to have to lift weight. Like if you aren't in the gym lifting, some of these things are really going to kick your ass. Like there's just no two ways about it. Carrying a 50-pound bucket up a hill filled with rocks is going to suck. Carrying a sandbag down a trail that weighs like 25 pounds, and keeping it over your shoulder the whole time, that's going to suck, okay? Atlas stones are going to suck for you. If you have bad back and you try to get low and you're not used to squatting and getting your hands under something and getting your knees down, and you're just trying to muscle it up with your back, that's a good way to get injured. So that's something to think about. So you want to have good form. You want to hopefully you have a strong core. I think that's really the key to all of the lifting exercises in the Spartan race is having a strong core and a strong back. Your arm strength, obviously everything's legs and arm strength is going to help, but like definitely abs and back and just core in general, obliques and everything is really going to help with those particular obstacles. And if you want to feel like you're really competing for something, like I'm not here to make friends, I want to try out Battle Frog. Battle Frog will really force you to dive in the deep end, really force you to mentally get over some. They had the sandbag thing at the Battle Frog as well, so definitely more military boot camp style. But Rugged Maniac, I think, is a great way to start out. That's the most recent one I did. I signed my fiance up for the one they did next year because they were having a $30 special for people who went to the race. So we both signed up for next year. I told her I'd help her through everything. She's like, "Oh, you're gonna leave me behind?" No, I'm gonna stay back and help her through stuff. It'll be a fun thing for us to do together. And she doesn't, she's never ran one of these before, and she trusted me enough to let me sign her up, and we're gonna do it together. So that'll be fun. Also, one last thing, choose some quality running shoes. I'm not talking about like New Balance from, Ross or something you found on the Big Five had on clearance. They're really going to help you push forward in this race. And also, if you go online and you look up, it's a whole new category now because OCRs are so popular now, obstacle course races, that they have OCR designed shoes that have like almost little cleats on the bottom. Like the bottom of the shoe has like little bumps that come out, so you really get traction if you're in the mud. Because I've seen guys that didn't have that type of shoe at certain races, they're going up a slant like this that's all muddy, and it's like Looney Tunes. They're running in place. Any traction to go up further, they're just running in place. It's terrible. So you really gotta, good shoes will help you with that. Spartan Craft is the ones I just bought, but for the Rugged Maniac. But for all of my other OCRs, I've ran them in Salomon Cross Trek 3s. Check out Salomon's. They make really good shoes. I would say Salomon was probably a little bit lighter than the Spartan one and maybe a little bit grippier. But they're also they don't expand very well. You're locked in. Your foot is in there. Okay. The Spartan shoe sheds water, I would say, a little bit better than the Salomon. Sheds water a lot better. But outside of that, it's both really great shoes. Salomon lasted me like 8 races or 6 races or something. So, and like several years. So no complaints on that. Only reason why I tried something new is because I just wanted to try something new and see what the hype was about. So get you some good running shoes. If you're going to do Spartan, get your ass in the gym or lift at home. Just do a little bit of lifting. Some body weight stuff should be fine if you just work on your form and get your core right and all that. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Garage Goons, most trash show on YouTube, episode 18. Got all my medals here. I'm going to continue to do more of these races. So if you guys are into it, I can break down more races the more I do. And then I can talk about gear as well. So let me know what you think. Look online for, some coupons for these things and just, do it if you can afford it. But yeah, great. It's a great thing that'll motivate you for this thing, and it's coming whether I like it or not. So Goons, most trash show on YouTube, episode 18. Which OCR is the best? It's up to you, man. Run them and decide for yourself. All right.